In the late 19th century, Alexander Cunningham spent years walking the plains of India, pointing at the ground and pulling lost cities out of the dirt. He located legendary sites like Taxila and Oronois with a success rate that suggests he could see through the earth itself. He accomplished this without satellite imagery, ground-penetrating radar, or carbon dating. His entire toolkit consisted of a theodolite, a notebook, and a shovel. His only guides were fragmented texts spanning 2.5 millennia. They were written by Greek soldiers, Chinese monks, Arab geographers, and Brahmin priests, people from distinct civilizations who never spoke a word to one another. If you read these sources literally, they contradict each other, but Cunningham understood that no historical observer is innocent. Every account is heavily filtered through the specific culture of the person holding the pen. To find the physical reality beneath the dirt, he conducted a textual excavation. He worked backward through time, removing these cultural filters, layer by layer. Before you can map a lost world, you have to map the blind spots of the people who recorded it. The most recent historical layer dates back roughly 1,000 years to Muslim writers like the scholar al-Biruni and the Timurid conqueror Babur. These writers viewed India through an empirical filter. They were administrators, so they prioritized actionable intelligence. They measured the exact distances between outposts, logged trade tolls, and recorded the physical layout and sensory details of the land. Dig deeper into the 4th through 7th centuries, and you find Chinese Buddhist monks, men like Fa Hien and Huan Sung, who walked from China to India. They operated with a strict doctrinal filter. A Chinese monk could walk right past a massive military fortress and leave it out of his journal entirely because he only cared about holy sites. To a military historian, this omission ruins the map. But Cunningham used their religious bias as a homing beacon. The monks meticulously tracked the exact walking days and bearings between sacred relics. Their texts were entirely skewed by theology, but because they worshipped structures made of stone, they gave Cunningham precise coordinates for exactly where to dig. Beneath the monks lies the ancient bedrock, 300 BC to 200 AD, the era of the Greeks following Alexander the Great. This map shows Ptolemy's ancient geography of India, and looking at the eastern half, the proportions are severely squashed. Cunningham realized Ptolemy hadn't mismeasured the roads. Instead, he used the wrong mathematical formula for a degree of longitude, throwing his entire coordinate system off balance. By applying a strict correction factor, expanding the distances by exactly 3/10, Cunningham watched the flawed Greek map unfurl, dropping ancient trade hubs precisely where they belonged. Finally, he reached the oldest layer of all, the internal texts of the Indians themselves, like the Puranas. These authors employed a cosmological filter. They didn't describe a physical map, they described a spiritual geometry, portraying the subcontinent as a massive lotus flower or a giant triangle. Cunningham utilized the geometry of the lotus to define the reach of ancient administrations, mapping provincial borders based on the orientation of its spiritual petals. The oldest records were projections of pure belief, yet they still yielded hard data if you understood how to read them. The Greek looked for mathematics, the Chinese looked for dharma, the Muslim looked for commerce, the Brahmin looked for the cosmos. Every single one of these observers recorded something true, while being completely limited by their own civilization's distinct worldview. By overlapping these biased, culturally filtered voices, Cunningham proved that their intersecting blind spots point directly to objective truth. He served as the essential bridge, connecting the mythology of ancient texts to the stone and silver of modern archaeology. To understand the past, we have to look past the ink on the page and first examine the lens of the person who wrote it.